Game theory will change your life. The invisible rules running every interaction. Read this once and you'll never see human interaction the same way again. By IXCARUS, February 7, 2026. Let's play a game. You and your partner in crime just got arrested. Police separated you into different cells. You can't communicate or coordinate. Detective walks into your cell with an offer. Here's the deal. Betray your partner, testify against them, and you walk free, while they rot for 10 years. But if they betray you first, you are the one getting 10 years while they walk. He leans back in his chair. Lets that sink in. Or you both stay silent. We can only hold you for a year each, minor charges. You are sitting there trying to think through every possibility. If you both stay silent, 1 year each, best collective outcome. If you betray and they stay silent, you are free. They got 10 years. If they betray and you stay silent, they are free. You get 10 years. If you both betray, 5 years each. The logical move for the group is silence. 1 year is nothing. Walk out, move on with life. But from your individual perspective, betrayal seems safer. Because what if your partner is sitting in their cell right now thinking the exact same thing? What if they are already cutting a deal? If they betray you and you stayed silent, you are fucked. 10 years. But if you betray them first, worst case, you both get 5 years. Best case, you walk free. So you betray, and your partner betrays, and you both get 5 years. Worse outcome than if you'd just trusted each other and stayed silent. This is the prisoner's dilemma, and you just lived it. Welcome to game theory. Months of reading condensed into one post. Books littered across my room. The Evolution of Cooperation by Robert Axelrod. Thinking Strategically by Dixit and Nalebuff. The Art of Strategy by the same duo. NASH original paper on equilibrium theory. Maynard Smith work on evolutionary game theory. Sticky notes everywhere connecting concepts on my whiteboard, on my desk, on my wall, on my floor. Black coffee with raw honey steaming next to me. That smell grounding me completely while my brain fires through frameworks faster than I can type. The dopamine and norepinephrine has me wired. Ambient music playing low. Something atmospheric and minimal. No lyrics to compete for processing power. I've been living inside game theory since I first learned about it, seeing it everywhere in every conversation and every interaction. And I'm about to fundamentally change how you see the world. Because once you understand game theory, you can't unsee it. Every social interaction becomes visual math. Every relationship becomes a strategic game with payoffs and equilibria. It sounds cold and calculated, but it's just reality. The invisible mathematics behind the games we are all playing to survive and succeed. Most people are playing blindfolded, making moves without understanding the game. You are about to see the board. What game theory actually is. Real life consists of bluffing, a little of tactics of deception, of asking yourself, what is the other man going to think I mean to do? And that is what games are about in my theory. John von Neumann, the father of game theory. Game theory is the scientific study of strategic decision making. It analyzes situations where your outcome depends not just on what you do, but on what others do. And that's basically every human interaction. Your salary negotiations, game theory. Your boss wants to pay you less, you want to earn more. So the outcome depends on how you both play. Your relationship, game theory. You have preferences, your partner has preferences. Sometimes they align, sometimes they conflict. How you navigate that determines the relationship outcome. Choosing a restaurant with friends, game theory. Everyone has preferences but needs to coordinate. Someone has to compromise or nothing happens. Applying for job, game theory. You are competing against other candidates. Your strategy affects their chances, their strategy affects yours. Posting on social media, game theory. You are competing for attention in a finite attention economy. Your content strategy affects everyone else. Reach. All of it, all human interaction, strategic decision making, where outcomes depend on multiple players' choices. And most people are terrible at it because they don't understand the structure of the games they are playing. They optimize for wrong thing, cooperate when they should defect when they should cooperate, stay in bad equilibria because they don't see the better outcomes available. Game theory makes the invisible visible. The NASH equilibrium, or why everyone stays stuck. John Nash figured out something that changed how we understand strategic behavior. In any game with multiple players, there's often a point where nobody wants to change their strategy, even though everyone could be better off if they all change together. This is Nash equilibrium, stable but not necessarily optimal. Real life example. You and your partner have been living in the same city for 5 years. You both have decent jobs and decent life, but you have both outgrown it. You want to move to a bigger city, career opportunities, high salary, professional growth. Your partner wants to move somewhere quieter, space, peace, better for raising kids eventually. You both want to move but in opposite directions, so you talk about it. Neither wants to give up their dream for the others. Moving to the big city for your career feels like asking your partner to sacrifice their dream. Moving to the quiet town for their place feels like you are giving up your ambitions. So you do nothing, stay where you are. It's the safest bet because nobody has to sacrifice. Years pass. You watch dream job opportunities in bigger markets come and go. Promotions you would have gone and salary jump you missed. Your partner never gets the space and peace they craved. Still living in the medium sized city that's neither career hub nor peaceful retreat. Both stuck. Both worse off than if one of you had just made a move. This is Nash equilibrium. You are both making the best choice given what the other is doing, but you are locked into a set outcome because changing would require coordination you can't achieve. And this pattern is everywhere. Companies stuck in pricing wars, both would profit more if they raised prices together, but neither wants to be the first because the other could undercut them. So they stay in low profit equilibrium. Friends stuck in shallow relationships. Everyone wants deeper connection, but nobody wants to be vulnerable first, so you all stay surface level. Stable but unsatisfying. No one wants to share the uncomfortable story or ask the deep question. Political parties stuck in polarization. Both would benefit from cooperation, but defecting is safer, so you get permanent gridlock. The key to escaping Nash equilibrium is communication and commitment. You need to coordinate strategy changes simultaneously. But most people never even recognize they are stuck in an equilibrium. They think this is just how things are. It's not. It's a strategic trap you could escape if you understood the game structure. Cooperation for mutual benefit, a survival strategy very common in nature, is the one that humanity needs to emulate. Eugene Odom, the ultimatum game, or why deals fall apart. You and two friends are trying to book a private table at the best restaurant in town for a festival weekend. $900 total. Split evenly would be about 300 each. Everyone's excited. But before you pay the deposit, one friend, let's call him the proposer, changes the deal. I'll only go if I pay 100, he says. I'm not drinking and I won't eat much, so you two can split the rest. You and the other friend look at each other. That's 400 each for you instead of 300. Fuck that, you say. We agreed on even split. Proposal refuses to budge. 100 or I'm out. You and the other friend refuse to cover its share. Principle matters. Proposer holds firm. Restaurant won't hold the table without full payment. Booking falls through. The night you have all been looking forward to is gone. This is the ultimatum game. Someone proposes a split, you accept or reject. If you reject, nobody gets anything. The rational move would have been accepting the 400 split. You still get the experience, you still get the night out, just costs more. But the humans aren't purely rational. Fairness matters, pride matters, being taken advantage of feels worse than losing the opportunity. This is why deals fall apart even when both parties could benefit. Why negotiations fail? Why partnerships dissolve? Why simple agreements turn to shit? Someone makes an offer that feels unfair, so the other person rejects it out of principle. But in the end, both end up with nothing instead of something. Happens in business constantly. Startup founder and investor can't agree on valuation, so the deal dies. Company never gets funded, both lose. Happens in relationships. One person wants something they think is reasonable. Other person sees it as unfair demand. Both dig in. Relationship ends. Happens in workplace negotiations. Employees ask for a raise they think they deserve. Boss offers less than they think it's fair. Employees quit. Company loses good employee. Employee loses job. The ultimatum game shows how fast good opportunities vanish when fairness and pride collide. Sometimes protecting the principle is worth more than the payoff. The key is recognizing which game you are really playing before the clock runs out. Are you playing for the optimal outcome or are you playing to punish unfairness? Both are valid, but you need to know which one you have chosen. Zero sum versus positive sum, or why most people compete when they should cooperate. Zero sum game, your gain is my loss. Poker, sports, promotions with one opening. Sit like that is fixed pie. Whatever you get, I lose. Whatever I get, you lose. In poker, one player ends up with all the chips. In sports, one team ends up winning the championship. Positive sum game. We can both win. Business partnerships, trade, relationships. The pie can grow. Your success doesn't require my failure. And here's what most people fuck up. They treat positive sum games like zero sum games. They compete when they should cooperate. They hoard when they should share. They optimize for relative position instead of absolute gain. They become selfish when they should share. I'll give a classic example that many of you can probably relate to: workplace dynamics. You and a coworker are both competent. You all could collaborate, share knowledge, make each other better because the team succeeds and you both get raise. Positive sum game, pie grows for everyone. But you are worried they'll look better than you. So you withhold information, protect your knowledge, maybe even subtly sabotage them. Zero sum thinking. You are competing for relative position. Result: team performs worse, both of you look worse, raises are smaller or non existent. You turned a positive sum game into a zero sum game through competitive mindset. Happens in relationship constantly. Partners viewing their needs as competing instead of complementary. If you get what you want, I don't get what I want. But often people needs could be met with creative solutions. The relationship pie could grow. Treating it like zero sum creates unnecessary conflict because both people fight for their share of a fixed pie instead of growing the pie together. Our business is another good example. Two companies in the same space viewing each other as pure competitors. They could partner and share resources, expand the market together while both growing faster. Instead, they undercut each other, race to the bottom of pricing. Zero sum thinking in positive sum environment. The shift happens when you start asking, is this actually a competition or could we both win? Most games have more cooperative potential than people recognize, but competitive instinct kicks in automatically. Understanding whether you are in zero sum or positive sum changes everything about strategy. Repeated games, or why repetition matters. You may not be interested in strategy, but strategy is interested in you. Leon Trotsky. One shot games. You play once, never see the other player again. Incentive to defect, screw them over, maximize short term gain. Repeated games. You'll play with the same person many times. Incentive to cooperate, build trust, optimize long term. And this is why repetition matters. Life isn't one shot. You are playing repeated games constantly with co-workers, with clients, with friends, with partners, with people in general. Screw someone over for short-term gain, word gets out, nobody trusts you. Congrats, you fucked yourself and you are locked out of future cooperation. The prisoner's dilemma we started with, it changes completely in repeated play. If you know you will face the same prisoner situation multiple times with the same partner, cooperation becomes rational. Betray them once, they'll betray you forever. Neither of you can trust anymore. Locked into perpetual 5 year sentences. But if you cooperate and they cooperate, you both get 1 year every time. Way better long term outcome. This is why tit for tat is such an effective strategy in repeated games. Cooperate on first interaction, then mirror whatever they did. They cooperated, you cooperate. They defected, you defect next round. Simple strategy, incredibly robust, wins more repeated games, tournaments than complex strategies. And it maps perfectly to real life. Someone helps you, help them back. Someone screws you over, don't help them again. Builds a reputation, people learn they can't exploit you, but they also learn you are willing to cooperate with cooperators. This is why freelancers obsess over reviews, why businesses care about brand reputation why professionals maintain relationships, why people care about feedbacks. You are not playing one shot games, you are playing repeated games in communities where information spreads. Your strategy in one game affects your option in all future games. People who optimize for short term gains in repeated game environments end up isolated. Nobody wants to play with known defector. Coordination games, or why everyone does the same stupid thing. Coordination games. Everyone benefits if we all do the same thing. It doesn't matter which thing, just that we coordinate. Driving on right versus driving on left side of road. Doesn't matter which, it matters that everyone agrees. If people didn't agree on that street would go to sit. Which messaging app to use? It doesn't matter if it's WhatsApp, Signal, Telegram, Snapchat, iMessage. It matters that your friends are on the same one. Which professional tools to learn? It doesn't matter if Photoshop is objectively best. It matters which one everyone else uses so you can collaborate. This is why suboptimal standards persist. Everyone's using the worst option, but nobody can switch because switching alone is worse than staying coordinated on the bad option. QWERTY keyboard layout is terribly inefficient. Designed to slow typists down so typewriter keys wouldn't jam. We don't use typewriters anymore. Better layouts exist, but everyone learns QWERTY. All keyboards are QWERTY. All typing jobs expect QWERTY. Switching individually would make you worse off. You can't type on standard keyboards, you can't use other people's computer, you would become incompatible with the world. So QWERTY persists, not because it's good, but because we are all coordinated on it. Happens in companies constantly. Bad process persists because everyone's coordinated around them. Why do we still do this way? Because that's how everyone does it. Nobody wants to be the first to change. Being miscoordinated is the worse than being coordinated on a bad system. This is why culture change is so hard. It's not stupidity, it's coordination. Everyone's locked into same equilibrium, even though better equilibria exist. Breaking out requires simultaneous coordinated movement, so everyone has to switch together. Very hard to orchestrate. But understanding you are in a coordinated game explains why rational people keep doing obviously suboptimal things. It's not the individual choice that's wrong, it's the equilibrium everyone's locked into. Signaling games, or why everyone wastes money on bullshit. Signaling games. You can't directly prove something about yourself, so you do something costly than that only someone with that quality could afford to do. Humans do this constantly. Expensive degrees from prestigious university. Yes, you learn things, but the primary signal is I'm smart and conscientious enough to get in and complete this. Employers use degrees as filter because it's costly signal, hard to fake. Luxury goods. Rolex doesn't tell time better than your Casio. You are not buying functionality, you're buying signal. I can afford to waste this much money. Signal of wealth is also hard to fake long term. Working insane hours at finance or consulting firms, not because the work requires it, but because willingness to sacrifice personal life signals ambition and work ethic. Costly signal because lazy people filter themselves out naturally. And here's the fucked up part. Once everyone's signaling, you have to signal just to keep up. If everyone has a bachelor's degree, you need a master's to stand out. If everyone works 60 hours, you need to work 70. If everyone's wearing expensive clothes, your normal clothes signal low status. Signaling arms race. Everyone spends more to maintain relative position. Absolute waste increases, but relative positions stay the same. This is why credentialism inflates, why workouts creep up, why status goods get more expensive, not because they are more valuable, because everyone's locked in signaling competition, and you can't opt out individually. Refusing to signal makes you invisible, uncompetitive. Classic coordination problem. Everyone would be better off if we all stopped wasteful signaling, but nobody can stop alone. Understanding signaling games help you recognize when you are being forced into wasteful competition just to maintain position. Can't always escape it, but at least you know what game you're playing. The tragedy of the commons, or why everyone ruins everything. Shared resources, everyone benefits from using it, but overuse destroys it. Individually rational to use as much as possible, collectively rational to limit use. But nobody wants to limit themselves while others keep using, so everyone overuses, resource collapse, and everyone loses. Classic example, fishing. Everyone benefits from fish. Individually, it would be rational to catch as many fish as possible. But if everyone maximizes catch, fish population collapses, so then nobody gets fish. Yet, no single fisher can fix it by fishing less. They just lose income while others keep overfishing. Collective action problem. Everyone would be better off with restraint, but restraint requires coordination nobody can enforce. This happens everywhere. Office kitchen, everyone benefits from clean space. Individually costly to clean up, so everyone leaves mess. Kitchen becomes disaster, everyone's worse off. Open source projects, everyone benefits from maintained code. Individually costly to contribute, so people use without contributing. Project stagnates. Social media, everyone benefits from quality content. Individually easier to consume and shitpost, so platform filled with garbage and everyone's experience degrades. Environment, everyone benefits from clean air and stable climate. Individually profitable to pollute, so everyone pollutes, the climate collapses, and everyone is fucked. Tragedy of the common explains why shared resources get destroyed even when everyone knows it's happening. Its incentive structure. Fixing it requires either regulation, privatization, community enforcement. Regulation forces everyone to limit use, which removes individual choice but protects collective resources. Privatization gives individuals ownership, meaning they have incentive to maintain because they capture benefits. Community enforcement are small groups that can monitor and punish overuse through social pressure, but large scale commons are nearly impossible to maintain without institutional intervention. Understanding this helps you recognize when you are in tragedy of the common situation and stop blaming individuals for responding rationally to fucked incentive. Practical application, or how to use this. Props to you if you are still reading until this point. I just listed a bunch of games that we play. But it but it's important to understand that knowing game theory doesn't make you a good cold calculating robot. It makes you strategic, deliberate, and aware of games you are playing. So here's how to actually use this. Identify the game structure. Before making a move, ask, what game am I actually in right now? Zero sum or positive sum? One shot or repeated? Coordination or competition? Signaling games? Wrong game identification leads to wrong strategy. Look for NASH equilibria. You are stuck in areas of your life where you and others are locked in suboptimal but stable pattern. Relationships stuck in bad dynamics, career stuck in safe mediocrity, habits stuck in comfortable dysfunction. Recognize the equilibrium, then figure out what coordination would break it. In repeated games, optimize for long term, not screw people over for short term gain. Your reputation is your most valuable asset in repeated game environments. Cooperate with cooperators. Defect against defectors. Be predictable. In one-shot games with strangers, protect yourself. They have no incentive to cooperate. You shouldn't either necessarily. Why even one-shot games have reputational spillover if you are in a community where information spreads. Recognize wasteful signaling. When you are spending money or time just to signal, no, that's what you are doing. Sometimes necessary but confuse signal with substance. Don't do it. Creative positive sum frames. When possible, reframe competitive situation as cooperative. How can we both win? Often unlocks solution. Zero sum thinking misses. Understand the incentive, not just the people. When someone's behaving badly, ask what game they are playing and what incentives they are responding to. Often the person isn't bad, the incentive structure is just fucked. Change the games when you can't win the current one. If you are stuck in a game with bad equilibria, sometimes the move is just to change game entirely. New career instead of fighting for promotion in toxic company. New relationship instead of trying to fix broken dynamics. New platform instead of competing in saturated markets. Change it up. Game theory is everywhere now, and now you can't unsee it. Every conversation is a coordinated game and every outcome depends on strategies interacting. And most people are playing blind and making moves without seeing they are bored, getting locked in bad equilibria without knowing better one exists. You are not blind anymore. You see the games, the structures, the equilibria, the incentives. Doesn't mean you will always win. Game theory doesn't give you solutions, but it gives you framework for understanding why situation unfolds the way they do. But understanding the game is the first step to playing it well. And in a world where everyone's playing games, whether they know it or not, conscious strategy beats unconscious reaction every time. Welcome to the game. Make your move.